Hello, this is PG, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm reviewing Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 on the Xbox Series X. It's also available on the PlayStation and the PC. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 is a third-person shooter hack and slash game. You play as a Space Marine named Titus as you lead your squad on a variety of missions against hostile aliens and heretics. So what is the game like to play? Well, in terms of controls, you can use a firearm, a melee weapon, you can parry, you can block, you can dodge enemy attacks as well. You've got special powers that recharge over time, and there are some truly gruesome executions. General play goes like this: you enter a linear tunnel based level design, you kill waves of enemies, you press a switch, you stock up on ammo and health packs, and you pretty much just repeat this process until the end of the chapter. It's not going to test your brain capacity in any way. There are no puzzles to speak of, no real challenges. It's very much old school action gaming at its finest, and to be completely honest, it is a hell of a lot of fun most of the time. So with a pretty repetitive loop, one area that does mix up the gameplay are the available weapons. As you progress, you'll find caches of guns that you can switch between at certain points. There's everything from chain guns, flamethrowers, sniper rifles, and even heavy duty warhammers. During a mission, you're either accompanied by 2 AI Marines or 2 human players. In regard to the AI Marines, I have to say they are not the most useful allies. They often only really help out when you get knocked down. It makes the game a little bit of a struggle if you're a solo player, and if you can play the campaign with a friend or with friends, I would strongly advise you to do so. The game features 3 modes. Firstly, you have the campaign, as I said. This is set across 3 planets, and despite a slightly sort of unimaginative and underwhelming and predictable beginning, by the time you get to the second and third acts, it's absolutely sensational. Most levels, like I said, they're quite similar. I'd say the only ones that really mixed it up were the ones including the jetpack. For me, the best part of the campaign was the story that kind of weaves it all together. It's well paced, it's well written, the characters are interesting, it's got a nice progression, it keeps you very much interested all the way through, and it's got some really interesting, like I said, twists and turns. Maybe the boss fights were a little bit disappointing, but the other sections definitely made up for that. The second game mode is Operations. These see you control different classes of Space Marines. The operations, essentially, they're like side stories that go on adjacent to the main campaign, and they give you a different perspective on the story. I wouldn't say it's on the same level as the main campaign though, but it's still enjoyable for the most part. There's also leveling up your gear, there's new skins, there's armor customization and all of that stuff. But I did feel like that was quite a grind to get anywhere, and to be honest, I just gave up with all that nonsense and just tried to just enjoy the actual physical play, because that whole grindiness is just not necessary. The third and final mode is Eternal War. Now this is PvP, whereas the operations mode I just mentioned was PvE. So PvP, it's competitive against other players. I'd say it's the worst mode in the game because I'm not really big on PvP, and I think some aspects of it don't translate well into competitive play. But you know, if you're a filthy heretic, this is the mode for you. So all in all, it's a pretty impressive game, a good story, nice meaty combat, and it will definitely provide a fix for people like the OG Gears of War or Halo fans. We don't get many of these sorts of games anymore, do we guys? So it's really nice just to dive in, check your brain at the door, and just get lost in the kind of brutality of it.
Clearing the way.
Visually, it's a very impressive game with some wonderful action scenes, brutal combat, fantastic weapon effects, and all in all, it's just incredibly well presented. The game features a photo mode as well. I have to say, it's got some nice options as well in there. You know, really, they've thought about it quite well. Now, if you'd want to watch a deep dive into that mode, check out my photo mode video in the comments and description. In terms of sound, top drawer stuff, stellar voice acting, which is really backed up by the great writing. The music, the sound effects, it's all excellently produced. Okay, verdict. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 is an action-packed, brutal and very entertaining third-person shooter. It captures the ferocity and pseudo-religious aspect of the Space Marines very well indeed, and the campaign is woven together with a really interesting story. The combination of range and melee combat makes for a very satisfying mixture, and it has some truly stunning and memorable set pieces. Yes, perhaps the campaign is left hanging with the sort of ominous sense that you're going to have to pay £30 to finally see what happens at the end of the story via DLC. The PvP mode I didn't really think works that well, but Operations was nice, you know, that fleshed out the campaign and gave you some more perspective. So on the whole, it's kind of check your brain at the door entertainment. Lots of blood, lots of gore, lots of action, great story, nice co-op, but perhaps content-wise, it's a bit thin at the moment. Like, there are rumours that there's more free content coming soon. Personally, I think it needs it, but if you're a 40k fan, this might be the most fun you can have in a video game of that particular franchise. Anyway, my score for Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 is 8.5 out of 10. Okay, that was the review. Thank you for watching. This is PG signing off. Cheers.